Do you know which countries receive the most remittances? Remittances, in essence, are funds sent by an individual, typically a foreign worker, back to their home country. They play a crucial role in the global economy, often forming a substantial part of a nation's gross domestic product. Today, we're about to embark on a fascinating journey, unveiling the top 15 countries that receive the most remittances, the major contributors, and the percentage of their GDP these remittances represent. So, are you ready to delve into the world of remittances? Starting from the bottom of our list, we begin with Nepal. This small landlocked nation receives approximately $5 to $10 billion in remittances annually. The lion's share of this comes from countries like India, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Malaysia, and the United States. With remittances forming a whopping 25 to 30% of Nepal's GDP, it's clear to see the impact they have on the country's economy. Next, we have Sri Lanka. Like Nepal, it also receives around $5 to $10 billion in remittances each year. The major contributors are Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Kuwait, and Oman. Despite the similar remittance value to Nepal, these funds represent a smaller, yet still substantial, 7 to 9% of Sri Lanka's GDP. Moving to Central America, El Salvador is our next stop. It too receives between $5 and $10 billion annually. The United States, Canada, Italy, Spain, and Guatemala are the main sources of these remittances. These funds account for approximately 15 to 20% of El Salvador's GDP. We then head to the Middle East, where we find Lebanon. This nation receives a yearly remittance inflow of around $10 to $15 billion. The United States, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Kuwait are the major contributors here. Similar to El Salvador, remittances represent about 15 to 20% of Lebanon's GDP. Last on this part of our list is Ukraine. It also sees an annual remittance inflow of around $10 to $15 billion, largely from Russia, Poland, the United States, Germany, and Italy. These funds make up about 8 to 10% of Ukraine's GDP, showing the significant role remittances play in these economies. These countries heavily rely on remittances, but they are just the beginning. Let's move forward. Cracking the top 10, we have Guatemala. This Central American nation receives around $10 to $15 billion annually in remittances. The United States, Mexico, Spain, Canada, and Italy are the major contributors. These remittances represent approximately 10 to 12% of Guatemala's GDP. Next up is Vietnam, a Southeast Asian country that receives between $15 and $20 billion in remittances each year. The United States, South Korea, Japan, Australia, and Canada are the significant contributors. In terms of GDP, remittances make up roughly 5 to 6%. Moving on to Bangladesh, this South Asian nation also receives between $15 and $20 billion in remittances annually. The United States, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, and Qatar are the leading contributors. These remittances represent approximately 5 to 7% of Bangladesh's GDP. In eighth place, we find Nigeria, Africa's most populous country. Nigeria receives around $20 to $25 billion in remittances each year. The United States, United Kingdom, United Arab Emirates, Canada, and Germany are the major contributors. These remittances make up about 5 to 6% of Nigeria's GDP. And finally, rounding out the first half of our list is Pakistan. This South Asian nation receives between $20 and $25 billion in remittances annually. The major contributors are Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, United States, United Kingdom, and Canada. These remittances represent approximately 5 to 7% of Pakistan's GDP. We're halfway through our list. The numbers are getting bigger, aren't they? Entering the top 5, we find Egypt. This North African nation receives an annual influx of approximately $25 to $30 billion in remittances. The major sources of these funds: Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, the United States, and Qatar. Believe it or not, These remittances represent a significant 5 to 7% of Egypt's GDP. Just ahead, we land in the Southeast Asian archipelago of the Philippines. Here, remittances total around $30 to $35 billion each year. The United States, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Singapore and Japan are the key contributors. These remittances account for an impressive 8 to 10% of the country's GDP. Next, we head over to Mexico. This Latin American country sees an inflow of approximately $35 to $40 billion annually in remittances. The United States, Canada, Spain, Germany, and the United Kingdom are the primary contributors. Interestingly, despite this substantial amount, remittances represent only 2 to 3% of Mexico's GDP. Now we're getting close to the top. At number 2, we have China. This East Asian giant receives an astounding $60 to $70 billion in remittances each year. The United States, Canada, Australia, the United Kingdom, and Japan are the main contributors. However, given China's massive economy, these remittances make up a mere 0.2 to 0.3% of its GDP. We're on the edge of our seats now. Which country do you think tops our list? And the country that receives the most remittances is India. India, the South Asian giant, is the top remittance-receiving country in the world. The annual remittance value in India is staggeringly high, falling within the range of 80 to 90 billion US dollars. Yes, you heard that correctly, billion with a B. Now you might be wondering, where is all this money coming from? The major contributing countries sending remittances to India are the United States, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Oman. These nations, with their substantial Indian diaspora, significantly contribute to the flow of remittances. But what does all this mean for India's economy? Well, remittances represent about 2 to 3% of India's gross domestic product, or GDP. While this percentage might seem small at first glance, considering India's massive economy, it translates to a substantial amount. These remittances play a vital role in India's economy, providing a stable and reliable source of foreign currency that helps balance the country's payments, support its massive development goals, and uplift millions of families by supplementing their income. Moreover, the remittances sent back home by the Indian diaspora are often used for education, healthcare, and investment in local businesses. This helps to drive economic growth, reduce poverty, and improve living standards. However, it's not just about the economic impact. These remittances also reflect the strong ties between the Indian diaspora and their home country. The hard-earned money sent back home is a testament to their love, care, and commitment towards their families and communities back in India. In conclusion, India might be at the top of the remittance game, but it's clear that remittances play a significant role in economies across the globe. From Nepal to Mexico, Philippines to Egypt, remittances are a lifeline for many developing countries. India leads the pack, but as we've seen, remittances play a crucial role in economies worldwide. But this is not just about individual countries. It's a global story. The flow of remittances around the world is a vivid illustration of our interconnectedness. It's a reflection of economic trends, labor movements, and even geopolitical shifts. Thanks for joining this journey through the world of remittances. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more intriguing content.